Hi everyone, my name is Sean Hardwick, attorney at Hardwick & Krause. Today we're going to be talking about child support, how it's calculated, how to pay less in child support or how to get more in child support, and some factors to consider when calculating child support. So one, how is child support calculated in Florida? Child support is calculated based on how much time each parent has with the child, how much money each parent makes, and then how much each parent is contributing to certain expenses for the child. And the most common examples are for daycare and for medical expenses. And there's some other specific things that are calculated into it, but most commonly those are the expenses that are considered. So getting to the second point, how can you pay less in child support if you're the one that's required to pay, or how can you get more in child support if you're the person who should be receiving child support? And the simple answer for both of those questions is to spend more time with your child. So the more time that you spend with the child, if you're the one that's paying child support, the less money that you're going to have to pay. Same thing goes the other way. If you're the person who's receiving child support, the more time that you spend with your child, the more that you're going to receive. Another important consideration is the income of both parties. And so that's why it's important to do your due diligence to figure out how much the other person makes. Because if you're the person who has to pay child support, if the person receiving child support is making more than they're leading on, then that needs to be calculated and proved so that you will have to pay less in child support. And the same thing goes the other way. If you're the person who is supposed to be receiving child support, you need to prove that the other person is making more than they're leading on so you can get more in child support. And another way to reduce your child support obligations or increase them, again, it goes both ways, is to spend money on daycare, and obviously that's only if it's necessary. Don't go out and spend money on daycare just to get more child support. It doesn't work that way. And then the other thing too is spend money on the child's medical expenses. If you don't want to give more money to the other parent, then contribute more directly to the child by spending money on their medical expenses as they occur. So that way you know for sure that the money's going directly to the child instead of to the other parent, or you have no control over how that's spent. So getting to the third point, what are considerations you should take into account when child support is calculated? One is you can have a situation where each parent has the child 50% of the time, but one parent still has to pay child support to the other parent. And that typically happens when one parent makes substantially more money than the other parent. And so, again, how is child support calculated? The time spent with the children, the incomes and expenses on the children. If one parent is making more money than the other parent, then that parent may have to pay child support to the other parent. The other thing is, parents tend to think that certain expenses are calculated for child support purposes when they really aren't. So paying for sports, paying for school supplies, paying for vacations, paying for all these things are not going to be calculated into child support. I mean, it makes you a good parent, it makes you a good provider, but it does not get included to child support purposes. So I see parents who are paying basically everything for the child, where, again, they're paying for school supplies, they're paying for tutors, they're paying for all these things for the children, but they still have to pay child support to the other parent. So it makes sense to talk to a seasoned family law attorney about your specific child support situation. They'll have a greater understanding of what is taken into account for child support, how to get you to pay less in child support, or how to get you to pay more in child support, or if there's any sort of issues revolving, your inability to pay child support or missed child support payments. It's ideal to reach out to a family law attorney who knows how to handle these types of situations. And if you need help with any of these situations, feel free to give us a call. We're more than happy to help.